I wanted to talk about my experience playing in a CPT online premiere, I don't think it's a secret at this point that I really dislike competing for the following reasons. Waiting.
Oh,
There is so much waiting involved in competing. It's gotten better at offline events. I will say I specifically remember like waiting hours to play one match at like a Texas Showdown before like the year that Street Fighter V came out. And then last year, like everything was zip zop zop, like moving quick. But it still feels like a lot of standing around and a lot of not doing anything. This is about 8 times worse on an online tournament.
the CPT?
And, yeah. And it has to do with a couple of things. First of all, I want to make sure that this is very clear. None of this is on the event organizers, right? Like the TOs, like they're hauling ass. There was like 2 people running 16 brackets. It was kind of crazy. But they were doing their best. And I think this issue, the issue that I have with this waiting is a twofold solution. One, tracking down players is a pain in the ass, right? Like the players, I think, are the ones causing the issue because A, it's time to play. Show up on time or else you get DQ'd. B, start.gg is another issue. Where I don't if you guys haven't played an online tournament on start.gg, I keep wanting to call it Smash because that's the old name. There is a countdown timer for every step of the match process. There's a countdown timer for checking in. There's a countdown timer for joining the lobby. There's a countdown timer for reporting the first game. There's a countdown timer for reporting the second game. There's a countdown timer for both players to verify the results. And then there's another countdown timer for the next match. So, because of the way things work on StartGG, I even streamed my run on Saturday. There was a point where we were literally waiting for like almost 45 minutes for our next match. And it was just waiting on timers because players didn't show up. Right? It was like DQ. It got to the point where I went on Discord and I was like, hey, Valle, because Valle was the person running my pools. Valle, these people all got DQ'd like 8 times. Can we just move this along? And he was like, yep, great point. So I think we need to find a better solution for the online tournament experience as far as the platform, right? And if anybody here works on start.gg, get at me. I have some feedback. And B, I think we as players need to do better about playing our matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday, I entered Tampa Never Sleeps. First match, couldn't find the player, couldn't find the guy. Went on Discord, hey, I can't find my player. The answer from the bracket runner, who again was running like 8 billion brackets, was like, they checked out on Smash GG, man. So I guess they're here. I went and I saw them. They were just playing ranked on their stream. So,
What?
right? Like, fuck. Like, what the hell?
What else do you do besides have a check-in procedure? Okay, the players showed up to the tournament. Now, where are they? I mean, what else is there to really do more of? Because that's more personal accountability.
Yeah, and I think we as players need to be better about that. Granted, I will say this. The whole, like, going to play ranked between tournament matches, I think, is specifically because it takes so long to get to other matches, right? So I think people want to stay warm, they want to stay limber, so they go play ranked or they go play on like something, and then they come back ready for the match. But there's a little bit of a disconnect there that just causes like people like me, like who are like neurotic, it felt like I was just like tracking players down. It's like, hey, we need to play, and then we would play. Then like, oh, I gotta wait 10 minutes because the guy I beat didn't click verify results. So yeah, there needs to be something done about that. Because that I think was like the crux of my big problem. With that said, though, shout outs to Alex Valle and the Level Up crew. They, with what they had, I think that tournament went as smooth as it could have gone on my end
That's
of
good
things,
news.
right? So big shout outs to the TOs and everybody working hard to make sure everything's right. If you work at Smash Start GG, get at me. Biz at bestofvshow.com. Automatic, I know you've had some tournament experiences with online tournaments. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I have some afterthoughts because I oftentimes don't participate in them very much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a few. I think the last time I did an online tournament, I played in a Street Fighter Six tournament when it first came out, and then I had to play somebody from Mexico, and I lost. And then I played in Bum's tournament, which was better because it was you put money to you have to pay like $10 to enter,
Oh, cool.
so the pool of players is less, and I think you have less of that problem where players don't show up, and you have more. You have people who are really invested in the tournament, and it's not like they can just check in and then just not like communicate that they lost their matches or anything like that. So it's I guess more professional in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes I don't participate in the online tournaments because they're late at night. Sometimes they go really late at night, and I'm a family man now, so I can't really spare that time as much as I used to. So on top of that, the whole tournament structure is just very difficult, whether it's offline or online, to have a
Mm-hmm.
satisfying experience because there's so many things that can go wrong, whether it's on the internet or in person. So as much as I like competing, it's just really tough for me to want to compete consistently in a lot of these tournaments because you show up. Is it on a PlayStation? Is it on Xbox? Is it on PC? Is it? Do they have a converter? Do they have 60 hertz? Do they have 120 hertz? It's just do they run the brackets well? Is it a $5 entry? Is it a $10 entry? Is it going to be 8 JP players? It's it's tough. It's tough these days, but I mean it's so cool.
Yeah. And to add to this too, since we're talking about both online and offline, I had my one big gripe with Evo last year was that I did too well to enjoy Evo. So every day when I would stop playing, I would go to the booths. Lines were capped. That was it. Right. And that's a so like I didn't get to play Project L with the exception of that I spoke to the community team since we've been in communication, and somebody who had a media slot didn't show up, so I got to play in that media
Lucky.
slot. Yeah, it was extremely lucky, and it was very nice of the Project L community team. Speaking of which, I want to give a quick shout out of condolences to everybody at Riot. They got rid
Oh,
of like
yeah, I heard about that.
500 people today, like for a layoff. That's extremely terrible. For those of you that don't know, I got laid off last August, so it's not a great feeling, especially because it's not anybody who's working's fault, right? Like anybody who got laid off, it's not their fault. It's the fault of the people above them who laid them off. But shout outs to everybody at Riot, man. This is extremely stressful. From what I saw, I don't think anybody from Project L was affected in the sense of getting laid off, but it's extremely stressful to go through stuff like that. So, big shout outs of condolences. And, I'm sure, like, I feel like everybody at Riot is super duper talented. So I hope they will get back on their feet very soon.
Ugh.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Rumbleverse. Not really related, but I just think
Mm,
about the industry and all the
yeah.
different ways things can go south, and
Yeah,
sucks.
man. Yeah. We got the wrong people calling the shots. That's all I'll say.
Money,
uh,
money.
yeah. But that aside, yeah. So every time we were talking about Evo before I went into that diatribe. Every time I would finish playing, I would go to enjoy the booth, whether it was the Street Fighter 6 Carnival booth or whether it was Mortal Kombat 1 because Mortal Kombat hadn't come out yet, and Tekken 8 had a booth, but all the lines were capped, so I couldn't do anything. So I was like, well, then I got stuck in this in between of like, I lost, so I can't play in the tournament anymore, but it's too late to enjoy the convention, so I guess I tried to play some casuals, and then I just went back to my room. Uh,
My feet hurt. Going back to bed.
Yep. But yeah, all this to say, with how far I also remember the experience of playing like in Wednesday night fights online for Street Fighter 4 after VIA had moved out of the Super Arcade, and comparing that experience to the experience I had this past weekend, it is miraculously amazing. It's a much better experience than it was before. So, shout outs to VIA and Shinjin and everybody over there at Level Up. for creating a great experience for everybody. But I
is
just think we as players need to do better, man.
I think you're right. And I hate to be, I have a Debbie Downer thought.
Oh,
and
go
I
for it.
don't want to say it because it sounds like that's like they're running it probably as best as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best possible experience. It's close to it. You know what I'm saying? How can you make it better? You know what I'm saying?
You know what's
How can you
interesting?
go up from there?
You know what's interesting? If you ever participate in an ICFC, I think they have the formula right. And ICFC is run by 10-0. I think they have the formula right. However, again, it's one of those things where when one thing goes wrong, everything is going to go wrong, right? It feels like all of the tournaments that we participate in, they're like on a razor's edge. But what they do is nobody touches the Smash GG except the bracket runners. And they have like one person running 3 brackets, I think. So, and it's almost like an offline tournament where you play your match and then you report your score to the bracket runner and then they mark it down. And that's it. And to me, that kind of takes away a lot of the issues that are created by smash.gg or start.gg, sorry. However, it opens up a whole new possibility of errors in case, like if something goes wrong on the admin side, right?
Yeah. Because it reduces the amount of user errors if you have less users who are responsible for inputting the data.
Mm-hmm. But it does require more staff, though. Like it requires more people to be more to pay more attention to the brackets, right? Because I think if I remember correctly, actually, you know what? I can even pull it up on Discord. If I remember correctly, I think there were literally just 2 people running brackets, and it was Valle and someone else. Let's see here. Oh, I have to scroll up all the way. All right, whatever. Yeah, it was like Valle running brackets 1 through 8 and somebody else running brackets 8 through 16 or whatever. So I guess then it comes down to how much staff do you have and how much attention can you pay to each individual bracket, right? So I guess that all comes down to like what you have available. But either way, it still all comes down to players need to do better. You know, be more communicative. And it was cool because like I met a couple cool people. I got eliminated by Spabobin, so I'm gonna go play him soon. And the person who put me in losers is a Mezzi, which I'm so sad about.
What's wrong with a Mezzi, man? You know, I've been thinking. I had a thought about him lately.
Oh,
when has he ever said something that's actually negative? He said things that are disagreeable, right, on Twitter that are like not the right, you know, maybe not the right opinions. But he's overall kind of positive, I think.
I think the big thing that bothered me about him was when there was that AT&T Annihilator Cup. It felt like he was one of the people that was stoking the flames of like, oh, look at these dumb streamers just making this game look bad.
Oh, maybe I have, what's it called when you have...
Selective memory?
Selective memory or like something that happens, recency bias.
Oh, recency bias.
Just haven't, I don't remember.
Yeah, but look, we played, he beat me and I went to losers, so shout outs to them. And you know, that's all I can say about that. It was one of those things. It was one of those things where I saw the name and I was like, damn it, I hope I don't lose, and then I lost.
Shucks.
Yeah. So I had to eat my own hat on that one, or whatever. But anyway, overall, not a negative experience. Could be better, but I feel like that's the same. That's the case for just about every tournament we go to, right? It's like it's not a bad experience. It's good, but could be better.
I mean, we've come a long way from
100%.
Actually getting hustled in real life tournaments. I've had that happen many times.
Me too.
I won a tournament. I'm like, hey, this doesn't add up, man. First place should equal this many players. What about this? Oh, this person didn't pay me. That doesn't make sense. And why is that my problem? I'm like 19, dude.
Yeah, no, I also remember when I first started, anytime I would go to a major, there was a lot of bracket floating going around. They would just put like whoever was available next up. So that was fun.
I've seen a tournament organizer get a bye to winners finals. Wait, what?
Hey, the bracket worked out that way, not their fault. I'm air quotes here. But yeah, I think that outlook is the best outlook, right? Like things have come a long, long way, and the fact that I think just the fact that we're having like a premiere on an online tournament is miraculous enough, and the fact that it went well is
yes. And
crazy
hopefully
good.
it's in combination with a little more offline events next time around. Just a little bit more.
Yep, I 1000% agree.